Chapter 5, The First Dawn, Year 0, Kryonix, First 7 Days After Arrival. Section 1, The First Law. The second morning breaks clean and merciless. The larger sun rises first, shouldering through the black crystal ridges like a great red fist punching the green sky. The smaller follows, pale and quick, spilling cool gold across the basin until every crack in the red stone gleams like fresh blood. The yellow stones scattered everywhere pulse faintly in the double light, releasing thin wisps of steam that smell of metal and rain. The circle of tablets still glows with the blue-white fire sunk deep inside the ivory, steady as embers that refuse to die. 300 bodies stir slowly in the ring they formed the night before. No one has wandered far. They slept tangled together, skin to skin, sharing breath and warmth against the chill that sank into the dust after the suns went down. Now they untangle reluctantly, sitting up, rubbing eyes crusted with red grit. Children cling to mothers' hips. Elders lean on younger shoulders to stand. The dogs shake themselves and trot to the basin's edge, sniffing at shadows that were not there yesterday. Asha rises without a word. Her knees protest the cold stone, but she ignores them. The cuts on her thumb and chest have scabbed over. When she moves, fresh beads of red well up and stain the dust at her feet. She walks to the center, where her tablet stands planted, glowing softly with captured flame. The 7 orphan tablets lie in their small spiral around it, ivory pale against the red, grooves dark with old blood from another world. She kneels, presses her forehead to the central tablet until the blue-white light warms her skin like a mother's touch, then pulls it free from the soil with both hands. The circle watches. They gather without being called, forming the same loose crescent they once used to follow herds across the endless grass back on Earth. 300 faces turn toward her, streaked with dust and double sunlight, eyes reflecting green sky and blue fire. They wait the way they waited for the milk-eyed elder to choose the day's path. Patient, certain, silent. Asha stands. She drives the tablet back into the dust at the exact center, deeper this time, pushing with both palms until only the carved face shows above the red soil. The mountain, the black snow, the golden rays, the reaching hands, all blaze crimson in the twin sun's light. The blue-white flame inside flares brighter for a heartbeat, then settles again, pulsing like a heart buried alive. She lifts her arms, palms open toward the circle, fingers spread wide as though catching invisible rain. Then she speaks. The words come slow, deliberate, shaped in the old tongue but weighted with something new, alien gravity perhaps, or the taste of red dust on her lips. Each sound is carved like a new flint point, sharp and certain. We keep what we still have. We mourn what we do not. We walk forward. The circle inhales as one. No one moves for 3 heartbeats. Then Mirren steps forward, blue-white flame already dancing between her palms from the yellow stones she carries like talismans. She repeats the words exactly, voice hoarse from the night song but steady as the fire she holds. The young hunter with the painted mountain on his chest follows, then the woman with the newborn at her breast, then Torin, small voice piping high, winter sky eyes fierce. One by one, 300 throats shape the law until it rings against the black crystal ridges and bounces back, louder, surer, woven through with the 5-note phrase, no 6 now. The girl's high ice crack note has stuck. They repeat it until the words feel solid enough to lean on, heavy as the tablets planted in the dust, warm as the yellow stones beneath their feet. Asha lowers her arms. The circle does not break. They stand in the double light, shoulders touching, and feel the law settle into their bones like the blue-white fire settled into the ivory. It is not a promise like the one carved on the tablets, that is for tomorrow for the dead. This is simpler, rawer. Survival shaped into sound, a law for the first steps on a world that does not yet know their names. Torin tugs at her hand. Asha looks down. He points to the central tablet, then to the sky, then presses his small palm to his heart in perfect imitation of her gesture. She nods. The first law is born. It will outlast the basin, the ridges, the twin suns themselves. But for now it is enough to stand in the circle they gathered in on earth, remade here, beneath two suns, and feel the words hold them up like hands beneath weary feet. The larger sun climbs higher, hammering the green sky into brass. The smaller sun trails behind, spilling gold. The circle leans toward the central tablet, toward the law spoken aloud for the first time. They keep what they still have. Each other, the fire, the tablets, the song. They mourn what they do not. Grass, mammoths, 7 souls, 1 sun. They walk forward. The second morning has begun. The spark endures. Section 2. Water and names. The third morning is already a knife. The twin suns rise together this time, perfectly aligned, turning the green sky into a furnace lid. Heat shimmers above the cracked basin until the black crystal ridges in the distance seem to melt and run like blood. The yellow stones glow hotter underfoot. Steam hisses from every crack, carrying the smell of hot iron and distant lightning. No one has tasted water since the golden beams released them. Lips are split. Throats click when they try to swallow, yet no one complains. They have the law now. Complaining belongs to a world that still had rivers. Asha stands at the center again, tablet planted deep, blue-white heart pulsing inside the ivory. She watches the band move with the slow, careful steps of people who know one stumble could be the last. Children no longer run. Elders no longer speak. Even the dogs walk with tongues lolling, eyes half closed against the glare. Thirst has teeth, and it is patient. Mirren appears at Asha's side, carrying 2 yellow stones cupped in her palms like offerings. Between them, the blue-white flame dances higher than yesterday, fed by nothing but the stones themselves. She meets Asha's eyes and tilts her head toward the western ridge where the stones lie thickest. Asha understands. She lifts one arm, palm open, fingers spread, and the circle flows after her without a word. They move sunwise around the basin, 300 shadows stretching long and thin across the red dust. Feet find the warmest stones by instinct now. The yellow shells pulse like slow hearts, releasing thin ribbons of steam that lick bare ankles and calves. Children learn quickly. Press belly or cheek to a stone at dawn, and coax droplets of clear water from tiny cracks inside the shell. The water tastes of lightning and old bones, but it is wet. Torin trots at Asha's heels, clutching a broken piece of shell almost as large as his head. Every few steps he stops, hugs it to his small belly, and waits. After a moment, a single bead wells up, trembles, falls into his open mouth. His eyes close in something close to prayer. Names begin to settle like dust after wind. The woman who carried the first blue-white flame is now spoken of as Mirren, one word, sharp as flint, meaning she who keeps the fire. The boy who laughed in the golden beams and gave them the 5th note is Torin, meaning thunder child, in the old tongue-twisted new. The newborn girl born the day they arrived, red as canyon dust, is Vera, first syllable sharp, second soft, meaning debt and beginning at once. The elder whose milk eye cleared in the crossing is simply old sky, because when he lifts his face to the double light, his remaining eye reflects green like the sky itself. Asha is spoken last and loudest. A hunter testing a yellow stone for water glances up and says it without thinking. Asha asks us to walk. The name lands clean and true. No one questions it. From that moment, she is Asha, the larger sun, the fiercer light, the one who leads. She accepts the name with a nod, tasting it the way she once tasted river water. Cool, necessary, hers now. By midday, the band has learned the rhythm of thirst. They move from stone to stone in a slow spiral, pressing skin to warm shell, coaxing droplets with body heat and patience. Mothers cradle infants against the stones so milk and water mingle on tiny tongues. Elders sit with legs splayed, stones balanced on thighs, letting condensation run down wrinkled skin into waiting mouths. Torin has filled the hollow of his broken shell almost a finger's breadth. He carries it carefully to Asha and offers it up like treasure. She drinks first, one small swallow that burns all the way down, then passes it around the inner circle. 300 throats share less than a cupped handful, yet no one fights for more. When the twin suns reach their zenith, the heat is a hammer. The band sinks into whatever shallow shade the yellow stones provide, curling together like animals. Breath comes shallow. Skin shines with sweat that evaporates before it can fall. The blue-white flame in the central tablet flickers, but does not die. Old Sky raises one trembling hand and makes the old sign for water, then the new sign for patience, palm flat over heart, held there until the ache lessens. Asha watches and learns the shape of leadership on an alien world. Not the loudest voice, but the one who decides when waiting is stronger than walking. Late afternoon brings the first real gift. A woman, her name not yet settled, but her hands quick and clever, discovers that striking two yellow stones together produces not just flame but a thin, clear stream that hisses out like breath from a dying mammoth. She shrieks, startled joy, and the sound cracks the silence like ice. Within moments the band clusters around her, passing stones hand to hand, striking, catching the brief hot jets on tongues and bellies and cracked lips. Children laugh for the first time since the taking. High, startled sounds that belong to a different world. Torin fills his shell again and again, drinking until his belly rounds, then carries it to Asha. She drinks, passes it on. The circle drinks and passes and drinks until the shell comes back empty and the laughter has turned to quiet wonder. Names settle faster now. The quick-handed woman is called Lyra, after the smaller son, the one that dances. The hunter who first tasted the steam and did not flinch is Ket, meaning Stoneheart, and also he who stands. By dusk, 300 names have taken root in 300 throats. They speak them carefully, tasting each one like the lightning water: Mirin, Torin, Vera, Old Sky, Lyra, Ket, Asha. The names feel heavier than bodies, more necessary than water. When night folds its black wings over the basin, the band curls together again around the glowing tablets. The yellow stones cool slowly, giving back the day's heat in gentle pulses. Someone begins the six-note phrase, soft, steady, no longer cracked by thirst. Others join until the basin thrums with it. Asha lies with Torin curled against her side, his small hand resting on the bundle place where the 7 tablets used to be. His breathing is even, deep. For the first time since arrival, he does not clutch the hollow place where his mammoth once lived. Above them, the wrong stars burn cold and close. Below, 300 named souls breathe the names of water and fire and one another. The third day ends. They are still here. Section 3, Preservare Log, Day 4, Observation Drone 471Y, Perseus Transient Array, Quantum Lattice Entry, translated from High Formal Preservare, Local Day 4 since beam release. Subject count, 300 viable somatic units, 0 new losses. Transport trauma survival, 100%, anomalous. Modeled expectation was 87 to 92%. Grief response plateauing within predicted bounds. No self-harm events, no resource violence, no hierarchy collapse. Symbolic re-anchoring around primary artifacts, ivory tablets, now absolute. Every surviving unit retains its inscribed tablet, 7 orphan tablets incorporated into central cluster without conflict. Auditory motif, 6-note ascending phrase, present in 100% of adult vocalizations, 94% of juveniles. Phrase waveform exhibits self-reinforcing harmonic entrainment. Projected cultural half-life exceeds 40,000 local years. Leadership condensation detected around female subject designation, ASHA 01. Decision latency near 0, consensus formation via nonverbal cue cascade. No observed dominance displays, no resource hoarding, no sexual coercion. Probability of matrilineal authority structure, 91%. Unexpected behavioral cluster, 0 instances of territorial aggression despite acute resource stress. H2O deficit critical 21 hours ago. Cooperative microcondensation of geothermal exudates, local yellow stones, achieved within 0.87 local days of discovery. Juvenile subjects already replicating condensation technique with 96% efficiency. Revised projections, population viability at 1 local decade, 78%, up from 61. Independent technological ascent, steam within 2 generations, 63%. Interstellar return trajectory within 20,000 local years, 8% and rising. Ethical subroutine continues to flag persistent distress spike, peak amplitude 0.41 sin. Consensus override, distress remains within acceptable margin for narrower sin. Mercy protocol inactive. Observation posture passive 0.8 AU standoff. No intervention required. Anomaly classification escalated to persistent. End lattice entry. Section 4. The first shelter. On the fifth morning the wind arrives. It comes from the north, dry and knife-cold despite the twin suns already blazing overhead. It scours the basin, whipping red dust into stinging clouds that find every cut, every cracked lip, every raw eye. Children cry out for the first time since the taking, not from thirst now, but from pain. The dust gets between teeth into lungs, under eyelids. The yellow stones hiss and spit steam that the wind tears away before anyone can drink it. Asha stands at the center, hair lashing her face like black whips, and feels the new law tested for the first time. They cannot stay naked under this sky. She lifts one arm and points toward the black crystal ridges that ring the basin like broken teeth. The circle understands at once. Packs that do not exist are shouldered anyway. Mothers hoist infants, hunters grab the largest yellow stones, elders lean on younger arms. They move in the old loose crescent, heads bowed against the wind, following Asha toward the nearest ridge. The stone splits easily. Ket discovers it first. One sharp blow from a fist-sized chunk of yellow stone and the black crystal fractures along hidden planes, falling away in flat slabs the length of a forearm and thin as hide. The broken edges are sharp enough to slice skin, but the inner faces are smooth and cool, faintly warm from the world's hidden fire. They work without speaking. Men and women carry slabs back to the basin in a steady chain, passing them hand to hand like water buckets at a step fire. Children too small to lift drag broken shards behind them, leaving red furrows in the dust. Torin balances a slab almost as tall as himself against his chest, staggering under the weight until Lyra takes one end and they carry it together, laughing through gritted teeth when the wind tries to steal it. By midday, the first dome rises. 4 slabs lean together, edges locked like fingers laced in prayer. Smaller pieces wedge the gaps. A flat sheet caps the top, and leaving a smoke hole no wider than a fist. The structure is ugly, crooked, no taller than a standing woman, but when Asha ducks inside, the wind dies at once. The air is still, almost gentle. The black stone drinks the day's heat and gives it back slowly, like a good dunfire banked for the night. 1 dome becomes 3, becomes 10. The band works until the smaller sun Lyra slips behind the ridge and the sky bruises violet. Dust still swirls outside, but inside the new domes the air is warm and quiet. Yellow stones are carried in and piled in the center. Their glow paints every face soft gold, turns black crystal walls translucent amber. Children crawl into the light and fall asleep mid-breath, exhausted thumbs in mouths. Mirren builds the last dome alone. She chooses the largest slabs, arranges them around the circle of planted tablets, like a protective ribcage. When the capstone is set, she crawls inside with a burning yellow stone in each hand. The blue-white flame leaps from stone to stone until the entire dome glows from within, a low golden lantern at the heart of the camp. Asha enters last. She kneels among the tablets, presses her forehead to her own upright one, and feels the stored warmth of 300 bodies settle into the stone around her. The wind howls outside, rattling the capstones, but inside it is only breath and heartbeat and the soft rustle of people learning how to be safe again. Torin curls against her side, already asleep, one small hand resting on the central tablet as though keeping watch. Vera, the red infant born the day they arrived, is passed from arm to arm until she reaches Asha. The child's tiny fist closes around a lock of Asha's hair and holds tight. Night sounds are different here. No grasshoppers, no distant wolf song, only the low moan of wind across crystal ridges and the occasional hiss of yellow stones giving up their heat. Someone begins the 6-note phrase, soft as breath. Others join until every dome thrums with it, the sound muffled and warm, wrapping the sleepers like an extra hide against the dark. Outside, the wind rages on, stripping red dust from the basin floor, trying to erase their footprints. Inside the crooked black domes, 300 sparks huddle close to their captured fire and refuse to go out. When the twin suns rise on the 6th day, the wind is gone, but the domes remain. Low, dark humps against the red like the backs of sleeping beasts. The shelters are crude, sharp-edged, barely high enough to stand in. They are the most beautiful things humanity has built since leaving Earth. The first night beneath a roof on Kryonix passes warm and quiet. No one dreams of burning mountains. They dream instead of black stone that holds the day's heat like memory, and of small golden lights glowing inside crooked walls, and of waking to find the wind still outside where it belongs. The spark has found its first skin. It fits. Section 5. The first death and the first birth. The sixth night begins with blood. A woman named Sarah, one of the taken who carried twins on the step, wakes the circle with a low animal moan that rises into a scream. The sound slices through the warm dark inside the domes like a flint through hide. Mothers clutch infants closer. Hunters reach for weapons that no longer exist. Asha is already moving, crawling over sleeping bodies toward the sound. Sarah lies in the smallest dome, legs splayed, hands pressed between her thighs. Blood, black in the yellow stone glow, pools beneath her, thick and shining. The twins she carried across the gulf have chosen this night to come, and the new world is not gentle with its gifts. There is no midwife, no boiled water, no songs older than sorrow. Only Miran's steady hands and Asha's voice repeating the new law like a drumbeat. We keep what we still have. We mourn what we do not. We walk forward. The circle gathers outside the dome, shoulder to shoulder in the chill, naked and silent. The wind has returned, softer now, but it still carries red dust that stings eyes and lips. Children are lifted to hips so they can see. Torin stands between Asha's knees, small fists clenched around nothing, winter sky eyes huge. Inside, Sarah labors. Hours pass measured in screams and the wet sounds of a body trying to birth death. Miran works by the light of a single yellow stone. Her hands are slick to the elbows. She speaks no words. There are none for this. Only low humming, 3 notes, then 4, then the full 6, trying to weave a net strong enough to catch whatever is coming. Asha kneels at Sarah's head, stroking sweat-matted hair, letting the woman's nails carve red furrows down her forearms without flinching. Sarah's eyes are wild, fixed on the dome's low roof as though she can already see the golden beams waiting to take her. Near dawn, the first child slides free, small, red as canyon dust, silent. Miran slaps its back once, twice. A thin cry answers, fierce, astonished, alive. A girl. The second child follows moments later, smaller, blue-tinged still. The cord is wrapped twice around its neck like a promise broken before it was spoken. Sarah sees the second infant and understands. She turns her face to the black crystal wall and bleeds. There is no strength left to push the afterbirth. The bleeding does not slow. Miran presses yellow stones against the flow, but the heat only makes the blood steam and hiss. Sarah's breath rattles once, twice, then stops. Outside, the circle hears the silence and knows. Asha crawls out carrying the living child wrapped in a scrap of woven grass, the first cloth made on Kryonix, rough and precious. The dead infant remains inside, cradled against its mother's cooling breast. Old Sky steps forward. His hands shake, but his voice is steady. He makes the old sign for sorrow, fist tap twice to the heart, then the new sign for continuation. Palm open, pressed to the earth, then lifted toward the twin suns just now touching the ridge. He begins to dig with bare hands beside the circle of tablets. The red dust is iron hard, baked by 6 days of double suns, but Old Sky digs as though the ground owes him this grave. Others join, Ket, Lyra, hunters whose names settled only yesterday. They use broken crystal shards and yellow stones until knuckles bleed, but no one stops. The hole grows slowly, wide enough for a woman and the child she could not keep. When it is deep enough, Miran emerges carrying Sarah's body. The dead infant is tucked against its mother's heart, tiny fists curled as though still reaching. They lower her gently. No one sings yet. The 6-note phrase is not ready to carry death. It is still learning how to carry life. Asha lays Sarah's ivory tablet on the woman's chest. The grooves, mountain, rays-reaching hands are dark with fresh blood again. Torin steps forward and places both small palms on the tablet's edge, then looks up at Asha with winter sky eyes suddenly old. He says the only word he has shaped since arrival, warm. Asha nods. She lifts the living child, Vera, already named in the womb, high so both suns strike the infant's face. The child does not cry. Her skin is the red of canyon dust. Her eyes, when they open, are the color of new bronze, under twin light. Old Sky pushes the last handful of soil over the grave and presses Sarah's tablet upright at the head like a seed. Then he sits back on his heels and begins the 6-note phrase, low, cracked but unbroken. The circle answers. The sound is ragged, torn by grief, but it holds. When the final note fades, Asha speaks the words that will be carved one day beside the promise. One taken, one given. The debt grows. She lowers Vera and presses the child to her own breast, though she has no milk to give. Marin strikes flint against yellow stone. Blue-white fire catches in a twist of dry red grass, the first true flame outside a tablet. The circle leans toward it the way plants lean toward light. Death has come to Kryonix. Birth has answered. The spark, thinner now but fiercer, burns on. Section 6, the 7th sunrise. The 7th morning rises clean, almost kind. The larger sun, Asha, clears the black crystal ridge first, spilling thick red-gold light across the basin like warm blood. The smaller sun, Lyra, follows moments later, quick and bright, turning the sky from bruised to living green. For the first time since arrival, the air is still. No wind, no dust devils, only the low throb of yellow stones giving back the night's stored heat back to the world. 300-1 souls stand in the circle that has never truly broken. They have not scattered to the domes. They slept where they fell after the grave was closed. Curled around the fresh mound, around the planted tablets, around the small blue-white flame, Miran kept alive all night with twists of red grass. Faces are streaked with dust and tears now dried to salt. Eyes are swollen but steady. Vera, red as canyon dust, 6 days old, sleeps against Asha's bare chest, tiny fists tangled in black hair. Torin stands beside them, no longer clutching the hollow place where his mammoth once lived. His winter sky eyes are fixed on the grave. Old Sky is the first to move. He rises slowly and walks to the mound. With both palms he smooths the last clods of red soil until the grave is a perfect low dome. Then he presses Sarah's upright tablet deeper, until only the carved face shows above the earth. The grooves catch the double sunrise and flare crimson. He turns to the circle and lifts both arms, old sign for gathering, new sign for witness. They understand. One by one they approach the grave. A mother carrying her newborn presses the child's cheek to the tablet, so the infant's breath fogs the ivory. A hunter kneels and lays his bleeding knuckles, split from digging, against the carved mountain. Lyra places the first twist of woven red grass. Rough, precious at the tablet's base, like flowers no one has named yet. Torin goes last. He walks forward alone, small bare feet leaving perfect prints in the soft grave soil. At the tablet he hesitates, then places both palms flat on the carved rays of golden light, exactly as he once placed them on the orphaned tablets. He leans in until his forehead touches the ivory, and whispers something no one hears. When he steps back, there is a single clear handprint, dust and tears, in the center of the reaching hands. The circle inhales. Asha steps forward, carrying Vera. She lifts the child high, higher even than on the first dawn, so both suns strike the infant's face at once. The baby's bronze eyes open wide. She does not cry. Her tiny mouth shapes a perfect circle, as though tasting the light. Asha speaks, voice raw from the night song but unbroken. 7 days ago we woke beneath 2 suns and thought we had been punished. Today we have buried our first dead and held our first child born to this sky. We were not punished. We were chosen to carry the spark farther than it has ever been carried. She pauses, throat working. Remember Earth, love Kryonix. Teach both names to your children. Old Sky answers from his place beside the grave. He lifts one trembling hand and adds a 7th note to the 6-note phrase. Low, steady bronze hum that seems to rise from the earth itself rather than any throat. The circle takes it up at once. 7 notes now, grief and promise woven together until they are one living thing. The sound rolls across the basin, strikes the black crystal ridges, comes back stronger, deeper, threaded with Torin's clear 5th, and Vera's wordless infant gurgle that somehow fits exactly. Children born on the steppe and children born beneath two suns sing together. The dogs lift their heads and howl perfect fifths. Even the yellow stones seem to pulse in time. When the final note fades, the silence that follows is not empty. It is full. Mirren strikes flint against yellow stone. Blue-white flame leaps into the twist of red grass at the grave's foot. The fire does not smoke. It burns clean and fierce, painting every face and shifting cobalt and gold. Asha lowers Vera and presses the child to her heart. Torin takes Asha's free hand. Lyra takes Torin's. Ket takes Lyra's. The chain moves sunwise around the old way until 300 living souls stand linked hand to hand around the grave. The tablets, the small fierce flame. They do not speak again. They do not need to. The seventh sunrise has seen everything it needed to see. Death has been answered. Birth has been named. The spark, thinner, harder, brighter, has been passed on. High above, unseen, the Preservari drone records the new harmonic and silently revises its projections one more time. Below, 300-1 hearts beat in perfect, stubborn rhythm beneath two suns that are finally learning their names. The first week is over. The first grave is dug. The first child of Kryonix has drawn breath. Year 0 has truly begun. Section 7. The Binding of the Seven. The seventh afternoon is quiet enough to hear blood move in the ears. The twin suns hang overhead like hammer and anvil, but the circle does not scatter. They stay around the fresh grave and the glowing tablets as though an invisible rope still ties waist to waist. No one has eaten since arrival. Hunger is a dull animal sleeping in every belly, but thirst has been answered by the yellow stones, and grief has been sung itself hoarse. Asha sits cross-legged beside the grave mound, Vera asleep against her breast, Torin curled at her side like a comma. In her lap lie the 7 orphaned tablets, no longer bound together by sinew. The rawhide cord has been soaked in blood and dust until it is stiff as old root. When she works it loose, the tablets clatter softly, ivory on ivory, sounding almost like small bones. She studies each one in turn. The first belonged to Sarah. The second to the grasshopper girl who chased Torin across the steppe. The third to a quiet hunter whose name was never spoken aloud on Kryonix. The fourth, fifth, sixth, and seventh to faces already blurring at the edges, faces that laughed around dung fires, that pressed foreheads together in the old way, that walked into golden beams without looking back. Their grooves are shallow, some barely begun, but every tablet carries the same mountain, the same black snow, the same reaching hands. The blood in the grooves has dried to black, yet when Asha breathes on them, the lines darken again, as though remembering. She lifts her own tablet from the center post. It is heavier now, warm from the blue-white flame inside, the final promise carved deep. We were taken. We endured. One day we will return and pay the debt. She lays her tablet face down across her thighs, like a small table. Then, slowly, deliberately, she places the 7 orphan tablets on top of it, arranging them in a tight spiral that mirrors the way they lay at the center of the circle the night of arrival. Torin watches, solemn. When she pauses, he reaches out and straightens the grasshopper girl's tablet so the carved hand reaches toward Asha's heart. Asha nods once. She takes the strip of lizard sinew, the first sinew harvested on Kryonix, cut from a small crystal-plated creature Ket killed at dawn, and begins to bind the 7 to her own. The sinew is pale gold, still wet. It darkens as it drinks the old blood from the grooves. She wraps it again and again, tight as a drum, knotting it with her teeth when her fingers slip. When the bundle is finished, it is thick as her fist, heavy as guilt. She lifts it to her chest. The tablets press against her skin like cold stones at first, then warm quickly, drinking her heartbeat. She ties the bundle beneath her breasts with the same sinew, double knotted, so the dead ride directly over the living heart. The edges bite, but she welcomes the pain. Pain is honest. Mirren kneels opposite her. Without a word, she offers a narrow strip of woven red grass, rough, strong, the first rope of Kryonix. Asha takes it and lashes the bundle a second time, crossing the sinew so the 7 are locked forever to the promise. Old Sky watches from the grave's edge. He makes no sign, only lifts one hand and presses it flat over his own heart, then over the mound, then over Asha's bundle. The gesture says they walk with you now. The circle understands. One by one they approach. A mother presses her lips to the bundle and leaves a tear. Kate lays his bleeding knuckles against it until fresh red mingles with old. Lyra places the first tiny braid of red grass, her own hair, across the top like a crown. Torin crawls forward last. He places both small palms on the bundle, leans his forehead against it, and whispers the single word he has learned on this world, warm. When he pulls away, the bundle glows faintly from within, blue-white fire seeping through the cracks between tablets, painting his face cobalt for a heartbeat. Asha rises. The bundle knocks against her ribs with every breath, steady, deliberate, impossible to forget. She speaks to the circle, voice low but carrying. 7 walked into the light with us, and did not walk out. Their tablets are bound to the promise now. I carry them until the debt is known. When we return, and we will return, they will walk beside us again. No one cheers. They simply open their palms toward her in the old sign for peace made new, slower, heavier, weighted with 7 absent heartbeats. The 7-note phrase rises, soft, steady, threaded with Torin's clear fifth and Veyra's wordless infant breath. The sound wraps the bundle like a third binding. Asha feels the weight settle into her bones, not burden, but ballast. The dead will walk with her until the living understand what the debt truly costs. She nods once. The rite is finished. The circle closes around her, shoulder to shoulder, skin to skin. Above them, the twin suns begin their slow descent. Below, the bundle pulses faintly against Asha's heart, warm now, patient. 7 tablets ride with the living. They will not be buried yet. They have a promise to keep. Section 8. The first promise kept. Night falls soft on the 7th day. The twin suns sink behind the black crystal ridges in perfect synchrony, painting the green sky in long streaks of blood orange and violet. The yellow stones cool slowly, releasing the day's heat in gentle pulses that feel almost like breathing. The wind does not return. Only a low, steady hush moves across the basin, as though Kryonix itself has decided to listen. The circle has not broken. 300-1 bodies sit or lie in the wide ring around the grave. The planted tablets and the small blue-white flame Mirren has kept alive since dawn. No one has entered the domes. They stay in the open, shoulder to shoulder, sharing the last warmth of the stones will give before true dark. Veyra sleeps against Asha's chest, tiny mouth open, bronze eyes moving behind thin lids. Torin sits between Asha's knees, back pressed to her shins, staring at the grave as though he can still see Sarah beneath the red soil. The bundle of 7 tablets rests heavy and warm over Asha's heart. Every beat knocks the ivory gently against her ribs, like a second, slower pulse. Old Sky is the first to move. He rises from his place beside the grave mound, joints creaking, and walks sunwise around the inner edge of the circle. Where he passes, people part without thinking, making a path. When he completes the circuit, he stops in front of Asha and lifts both trembling hands, palms open toward the sky and the old sign for Sky Mother, now aimed at the first faint stars. Then he begins to sing. Not the 6-note phrase, not yet. Only 3 low notes, breath-shaped, grief-shaped, promise-shaped. The same 3 notes that lived in throats on the night the dreams began, the same 3 that followed them into the golden beams. His voice is cracked and thin, but it carries. One by one the circle answers. A mother nursing her child adds the 4th note. Ket's deep rumble weaves the 5th. Lyra's clear alto lifts the 6th. Torin's winter sky voice threads the 7th high and pure. The phrase is no longer mourning. It has grown teeth. It circles the ring faster and faster, gaining strength, gaining harmonics, until the red dust itself seems to lift and spin in slow spirals above their heads. Then Veyra, 6 days old, red as canyon dust, born beneath 2 suns in a fresh grave, stirs in Asha's arms. Her tiny mouth opens. A single note, high, thin, impossible, rings out above the rest. Not a cry. A note. Clear as breaking ice, bright as new flint, it slots perfectly into the ascending phrase like the final piece of a spear shaft sliding home. The adults falter, stunned. 7 notes have become 8. A child born on Kryonix has changed the song again. For 3 heartbeats there is only silence and the faint crackle of Marin's blue-white flame. Then, every throat takes up the new 8th note, tentative at first, then fierce, then exultant. The sound rises until the black crystal ridges throw it back in perfect echo, until the wrong stars themselves seem to shiver. Asha feels the bundle against her heart flare hot for an instant, as though the 7 dead have heard and answered. She stands. The circle opens to let her through, then closes behind her. She walks to the grave mound carrying Vera in the crook of one arm. With the other she presses the bundle of 7 tablets hard against her chest until the edges bite. She kneels. She lays her forehead to Sarah's upright tablet, then to the soil itself, then lifts her face to the green-black sky and sings the new 8th note louder than any throat has ever sung before. The circle joins until the basin rings like hammered bronze. When the final echo dies, Asha speaks into the hush. The promise was, we were taken, we endured. One day we will return and pay the debt. Tonight we have kept the first part. We have endured. She lowers Vera until the infant's cheek rests against the grave soil. The child gurgles, kicks once, and falls asleep again. Asha rises. The bundle knocks steady against her heart. Marin steps forward and touches flint to yellow stone. Blue-white flame leaps high, taller than a man, painting every face cobalt and gold. The circle leans into it. Old Sky lifts both arms and makes the sign for continuation. Palm to earth, then to sky, then to heart. The 8-note phrase answers, ascending, defiant, alive. High above, unseen, the Preservari drone records the new harmonic and files it under a single line it has never used before. Cultural Genesis event confirmed. Below, 300-1 sparks plus 1 brand new one stand beneath 2 suns that have finally learned the first 8 notes of their name. The first promise has been kept, they endured. The second promise, return, can wait. For tonight the song is enough. The spark, changed, growing, unstoppable, burns brighter than both suns combined. Year 0 moves forward. The circle holds.